Hi Grace family, and welcome back to our midweek check-in. So last Sunday we read through the rest of John chapter 5 and looked at the many witnesses that Jesus talked about to prove his deity. Hopefully it was just a great reminder that our faith in Jesus is not blind. We have proof after proof and witness after witness that shows us who Jesus is, so we can come to him, find rest, and bear witness about him ourselves. One verse that we really didn't have time to unpack is John chapter 5 and verse 43, where Jesus says to the unbelieving Jews, he says, "I have come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me. If another comes in his own name, you will receive him." And here Jesus is almost exposing something within their hearts. They were willing to receive other voices without much thought, yet they continued to reject the one who had given them every reason to believe. So it makes me kind of stop and question myself and ask, whose voice am I receiving today? What influence am I allowing in my life? And I think if we're honest, there are plenty of voices competing for our attention. You know, sometimes we spend hours scrolling social media, allowing influencers to shape our thinking more than Scripture, or sometimes we believe the world's definition of happiness and pursue that instead of resting in the true joy of the Lord. Or sometimes we allow political voices to stir up fear, anger, or division more than allowing the peace of Christ to shape our hearts. None of those things happen overnight. They slowly creep in because we're constantly surrounded by them every day. And before long, we're receiving those voices more than we're readily receiving the words of Jesus. So here's my encouragement for all of us in the middle of this week. Maybe before you pick up your phone and start scrolling again, looking for something that can just give temporary happiness, or before you listen to politics bash the other side, before you let any other voices into your life, spend some quality time receiving the words of Jesus, and make this the most consistent voice, the most consistent pattern in your life, where you open his word, you listen to his spirit, you let him shape your heart and mind before the world ever has a chance to. So whose voice are you receiving today? Let's make sure it's the voice of Jesus, and everything else will fall into place. We're actually going to talk a little bit more about this on Sunday morning as we have one final sermon in John chapter 5. In the meantime, have a great rest of your week, receiving Jesus' voice above all others. And we'll look forward to seeing you Sunday morning at 9 a.m.